No, not I. We won't survive. Since we didn't know how to play, we didn't stay alive. We might got both our lives to live and all our picks to give. So next year we might survive. We might survive. Hey, hey. Hey, everybody. We kind of sort of lost all our survivor entries in the first few weeks here. Kind of turned to singing on the street to pay these fantasy league dues we got piling up. If you enjoyed listening, head over to goodjujubets.net, click on the merch shop, and leave a tip, as in buying something. We don't actually want tips, but we would love to share our good juju with you. Because remember, wearing good juju is always good juju for you.
We can't lose. No, we can't lose.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Gambling gods, fickle bunch.
Oh, yeah.
So easily
We
offended.
have a shooter and a good one coming out for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. He's a rolling point is 9, place 9. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen.
They bet on absolutely anything. Don't make them prove it.
So you're telling me, on any given random night, professional sports bettor Elihu Feustel will not be found watching any of the games that everyone else is watching?
Are you kidding? I got books to read and PlayStation to play.
You're tuned in to Gambling with Good Juju.
Welcome in, everybody, to Gambling with Good JuJu.
So wonder what that was.
What's that sound, RJ?
Concraft 400? Zombie Nation?
Nope.
Nope.
I mean, maybe. It's the sound of momentum.
Oh.
Where are we hearing that Mo, Ryo? Champagne Urbana! We're full of playoff hunting! Of course, we play number 9, Penn State and Happy Valley in prime time on Saturday night, and this bubble certainly wouldn't burst in embarrassing fashion on national stage in prime time, right?
Nope.
No, not for Illini Nation. We're celebrating. I know my PIC here is almost as happy to see my Illini 4-0 as he would be his own Bears being 3-0 right now.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't watched the game, but that's different.
Well, that's all right. We're celebrating.
Absolutely.
So today we're celebrating the good news in our lives. We don't have Survivor. We don't have the Bears. I mean, we have the Bears.
We
But
unfortunately have the
it's-
Bears.
It's as bad as it's ever been trying to watch them.
Woo.
Okay. All right.
I've had 2 neighbors stop me and say, "Are you watching the Bears still? Because we don't hear you anymore."
Yeah. Well, we don't ever make any noise in
Yeah.
Bears games because
Right.
nothing happens.
Nothing exciting happens.
It's awful. So we celebrate what we do have.
Right.
Go Illini.
Go Illini. And 2025 Survivor.
Okay. Enough with the celebrating. Time to get down to business. I'm sure you already headed over to your favorite podcast platform during that extra long interlude to let them know you appreciate what we're doing. But if you haven't, also come hit us up on the socials at Good Juju Bets. We'll talk to you about literally anything except politics. Think of us as a safe space there. Speaking of people, no comment from RJ.
I didn't know what to say about that one.
I think you could just say I agree.
I agree.
We're not going to talk about politics.
Very safe space.
Very safe space. But speaking of people who almost certainly would talk politics with you, today we're thrilled to welcome in Elihu Feustel. Elihu has written multiple books on sports gambling, including his latest Beyond the Odds, which hits stands this summer. Look, we're really excited to talk with Elihu. We're going to do our best to not nerd out too hard and keep it lightish for you all.
Speak for yourself.
We will try. In the meantime, we got stuff to discuss. It's time for the heat check.
Check. I wonder what this is going to be about.
Time to do a survivor check-in.
Oh, let's do it.
What do
How
you
is it
think?
going? How's it going,
Um,
Mr. Breezy?
It's time for the memorandum on the 2024 Survivor season.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
It's all the Lions' fault. We went down in a blaze of glory with a team at home against a broken Tampa D that got shredded 1 week later by Bo Nix at home.
Unbelievable.
And it would hurt so much more right now if 95% of you suckers weren't in the same damn boat as us right now. Like, I don't even care anymore. Only 5% of people are left.
Yeah, so that makes you less pissed off?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, everybody lost, right?
Everybody's out. Circa Survivor's over. Like, there's like 500 people left who are paying attention.
Yeah, like next year, if they make a TV show, it's going to be one episode.
It was fun. I can't wait to pretend to tell you I don't want to do it again next year.
Yeah, but we're obviously doing it
And
again,
then
right?
I'm obviously doing it next year.
Right.
The only question is how hard and how fast can we run it up between now and then to see how much equity we put into it.
How many entries, right?
Right.
What do you think? I'm gonna set it at 2.5 right now.
It depends on if we have additional partners.
Well, like more than the three of us?
Well, this year, did we have one or did we have two? What are you saying?
One.
Okay. So just us. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Over 2.5. It kind of depends on where
How much betting you do between now and then?
Jolly St. Vic's head is at.
Oh, yeah. I got to be honest. I think I got him back into gambling.
He was out of gambling?
Yeah. I mean, like gambling.
Like he was losing? And so he was out?
No, I'm just saying, like, we went to the Paradise a couple times.
Oh, you're talking about the gambling that we lose at.
The real
The
gambling.
casino gambling.
Yeah, not sports betting.
Right. I forgot you consider wasting our money at casinos real gambling.
That's entertainment, my
And
man.
did he have a good time?
No.
So he's back out. You got him in, and now he's back out.
Who knows?
No. We didn't have a good time. Of
Who
course
knows?
not.
We had a blast. But he was like, yeah, I'm going to put $100 on one hand of Baccarat. And I'm like, dude, we're going at 11 a.m. The Baccarat table's not going to be open.
Not only are we out, everyone we know in Circa Survivor is out.
Every single friend of the show.
I don't have a single person tied to this show with an entry that I'm aware of.
No.
I don't.
And the entries are worth like $10,000 now, right? Something crazy like
The
that.
entries are worth over $22,000.
$22,000 already? Now, since Cincinnati lost. Yeah.
Since Cincinnati lost, they're worth $22,000 something each.
Yeah. Wow.
For a 1,000, you've over 22x'd your equity.
So hypothetically here, were we gonna sell some
Sell some what?
of our had we survived this far?
Hell no.
Right, absolutely not. Yeah.
I'm not giving anyone any stake of mine.
What could have been?
After we win one.
Right.
Once we win one, then I'll be open to trading and doing all that dumb. Let's see one go through the hoop.
Let's get one through the hoop.
And then we're in.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait till next year. I can't wait to do this again.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, it is way simpler when you don't have to pick the team.
When we get into October 1 year, that'll be neat.
I gotta be honest.
Spanky had a hilarious tweet about that.
Yeah.
He was like, I absolutely decimate sports gambling, and I'm pretty sure I will never make October in Circa Survivor.
Unbelievable.
That's great stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of which, we actually got a question into the show because we continue blowing up. This one's not going to prove to anyone we're blowing up. We got a question to the show from superfan Uncle Justin.
Uncle Justin, literal uncle?
Yeah, he is an uncle. Yeah, not mine, but he is an uncle. Justin wrote in, what a Circa slaughter. Do they keep track season to season how many entries remain in any given week? 4.5% of entries remaining feels pretty extreme 3 weeks in.
I mean, there's no way this has happened before, right?
So did we cover that? By the way, there are 4.5% of entries left. That represents, I think it's 600 and I don't remember the exact 650 or somewhere around there remaining out of 14,000 entries plus.
Wow.
So 4.5% of the field is down to Uncle Justin. We were wondering the exact same thing. So we reached out to friend of the show, Survivor Atlas, on Twitter to see if his site could readily access this information. Within an hour, he had posted on there the following. Circa Survivor down to 4.5% of field after 3 weeks. How long does it take to get below 5% most years? 2020, week 16. They did not get down to below 5% of the field in 2020 until week 16.
Wow.
That would have been fun
Yeah.
if I had gotten knocked out right before week 16 instead of right before week 3
Yeah,
where it
fair.
happened.
Fair enough.
2021, week 10. 2022, week 7. I'm sure everyone was sitting around in 2022. That's crazy. I can't believe all these people are out in week 7.
Right. Week 7.
Unbelievable. 2 years ago was week 16.
Right.
And now here we are. 2023 was week 11. So a little bit of a bounce back in performance by the favorites, I'm assuming, in that period.
So very unprecedented.
And no. Yes, unbelievably unprecedented. In 2024, we are in, after week 3, we hit below
Unbelievable.
5%. Great information. Thank you so much to Survivor Atlas for answering our question. Folks, give our friend Gabe, the man behind the plan there, a follow at Survivor Atlas. You can also get all those great tools yourself via his website, survivoratlas.com. If you have a question for the show, anything in the world of sports and casino gambling, or really anything, hit us up via the site goodjujubets.net. Just click the Submit and Ideas tab. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin, for chiming in.
Yeah, appreciate the information. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
What else you got today, Juice?
Well, glad you asked. After another fantastic performance in Circa Millions, I'm now 10-5, which feels exceptional.
Yes.
Unfortunately, probably not exceptional to win like the first quarter.
So did the results come out this week, today?
Haven't seen them yet.
But they came out today, didn't they?
Yeah, I was at a basketball game. Should we look those up real quick? All right, after crunching some numbers here, I am tied for 187th place.
Oh my goodness. How many participants?
I know you're going to ask that. Please hold. So prepared. I don't know how many participants there are.
Thousands.
Literally thousands, yeah.
Thousands of participants, and you're almost in the top 100.
Yeah.
What's the place?
187th. Tied for 187th with a few hundred of my closest friends.
Tied for 187th.
Yeah.
And you're sitting at 10-5?
Yep.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's like it's so good. It feels weird. Unfortunately, not good enough to like win any money. And unfortunately, I told myself that in entering this contest, that would be like, my sunk cost, and I wouldn't bet on these games.
You didn't have to.
Yeah, but I should have.
Well,
because I could have paid for this contest.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, please.
Do you have a process
No.
for picking these games?
No, I totally don't. I'm anti-processing this, like by design.
Are you game theorying this in some way?
I think I'm omitting all of the biggest movers because I feel like they are going to be highly picked. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because it's like the lines are a little stale, like a day stale.
Okay.
So I'm omitting them on purpose. And then from there, I just kind of shoot from the hip.
Wow. You shouldn't bet on them.
Right.
No.
Yeah, right.
You haven't proven anything that you actually are doing.
Regression is coming.
If you were like, yeah, I kind of got this process where I've been, reading information on Monday, from off, and then on Tuesday I digest this information from Steve Fezzik. Then I've got a couple tools that I go look at and just kind of see the trends and how they're moving for the games. And I kind of like it's an art, right?
Yeah,
it's not a science,
art,
but then I kind of take those factors and weigh them in my head, and it helps me make a decision. And it feels like it's working right. It's not that.
No, it's not that. It's just like, ain't no way the Washington Commanders are deserving to catch 7.5 to the Bengals. And look at that. They won outright.
You are hot taking your way to a 10-5 start in Millions.
Totally. And it feels so good.
Please keep this up.
Yeah.
Please keep this up.
Hot takes are coming. Maybe I'll do a little hot take narrative next time.
Hot take. No
Hot
one's a
take.
professional.
Hot take. No one is a professional at handicapping professional football.
What else you got? You said you had a tip on something.
Yes. Pro tip. At the casino. So I've been spending a little time in the casino again. And we had an absolutely fantastic night the other night. Unfortunately, you weren't there yet, Breezy. But I was there with two friends of the show, Jolly St. Vic and Big Stevie. And we got on an absolute heater at the craps table. And the pro tip is count your chips before you give them to the color them up. Because unfortunately, we're quite certain after getting our pencil out that old Big Stevie was shorted 4 figures at the cash out. And I thought, you know what? I thought, hey, no problemo. Let's just run the tape back, security guys. Look what he had in the rack. And they pretended to do that and they told him to kick rocks.
Of course they did.
So, lesson learned there. Count your chips no matter how many you got if you want to know exactly what you should be getting back.
I have a lesson for folks based on that night, too.
Oh, yeah?
If you plan to go to the casino with your friends, don't go late.
Don't miss the hot
Because
shooter.
then you find out as you're going that it turns out you're not going there. You're going to a bar instead.
Yeah, already left.
And then you're like, well, at least if I'm going to this bar after these guys apparently just won a ton of money gambling, we're going to have fun.
And then it was total buzz killings.
And then the person who won all the money left
to go
argue with the boat that he deserved a lot more money than he got.
Yeah.
And then you're just left sitting there waiting for him.
Watching the
because
Hawaii
you have
game.
Nothing else to do. And you're talking to your friends like, I'm not understanding why we're not at the boat right now.
Yeah.
You guys did well.
Yeah.
But like,
right.
You could have hung.
Yeah. Totally. We could have given it all back. Speaking of Heaven on Earth, Paradise Riverboat Casino, I do want to report. I got a little casino report for you.
Okay.
The Sky Wheel is back.
What?
The Sky Wheel is back. And not only that, they got bubble craps.
I hate bubble craps. I hate any fake table game.
Yeah.
They're all fake.
Yeah, totally.
Bubble craps is rigged.
Bubble craps is pretty fun.
Not as rigged as video blackjack, but trust me, those dice are rigged.
All you got to do is you just got to figure out how they're rigged and then bet in that way.
Folks, if you haven't, the most plus EV slot machine out there is the Sky Wheel.
Sky Wheel.
Which isn't even the name of the slot machine. It's like Crazy Deluxe Money, I think is what it's actually
Yeah, something
called.
about presidents or something.
Yeah, there's dead presidents on there. You should check it out. It has a Sky Wheel. That's the most important part.
Yeah, me and Jolly St. Vic shredded some cash in it the other day for you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And when I say it's plus EV, that's entertainment EV.
Yeah, for some reason,
not
you love
actual gambling EV. You don't make money off of it.
Ever.
Or any other thing you do gambling in a casino.
Not true.
Okay. What else we got? Anything else?
I think we've...
Are we going off topic? Because I have one random thing.
Let's
to
do
go
it.
off topic on. Have we never discussed the fact that you're an internationally famous DJ on this show?
On this show?
Like, this is my musical episode. I come out.
Yeah.
singing. But I'm not the musician here. You are.
The musician. That's like overselling it.
My partner here is an internationally famous DJ.
Yeah.
Shout out Helsinki, Finland.
My one gig overseas.
Shh, I'm going to cut that. And he had a famous blog, whitefolksgetcrunk.com.
Yeah, back in the day.
If anyone out there has listened to DJ music blogs in the past, you've probably heard of it.
If you were into the DJ music blogs 12 years ago, you probably heard of it.
And I was just driving today, and I wanted to ask you this question on air so that I could capture it for everyone.
Great.
Is White Folks Get Crunk still active?
Oh, yeah, it's still on the...
So-
I mean, no, it's not active, but it's up.
It's up. If someone were to go to the website now, they could go get
Absolutely.
free music. Would the download links work
Oh,
that are in there?
probably not many of them, but
Probably
a few
not many of
yeah.
them. All right.
Most of those websites have been shut down at this point.
Yo, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably can't actually access the music he wrote about on a daily basis for how long?
Oh, 10 years.
10 years. Whitefolksgetcrunk.com.
And
Internationally
again,
famous DJ.
Writing about it is kind of a stretch. But I had some fire t-shirts and hats.
He definitely had a process for writing the post. Remember when I helped you write those posts?
Yeah, you did, I think, 2 good ones.
No, probably not.
And by
Tried.
by good ones, I mean you did too.
I mean, I was at work.
I appreciate that, hand.
Yeah, why not? Hey, did everyone know Illinois is the only team in the country with 2 top 25 wins this year?
Factoid.
Factoid. I don't know if you knew that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're going to 2 games coming up.
I'm only going to 1. I'm
Oh,
not going to Purdue.
oh, really?
Nah.
Yeah.
Things got weird this year. Not
Heard
with
it.
them.
No.
Not with them in my personal life.
Yeah.
And not bad, guys. I'm okay. But seriously, things got A little too crazy.
A little hectic, right?
Yeah, things got too crazy, so I'm not going to the Purdue game.
All
The
right.
rest of it.
So you're going to see him play Michigan.
Going to see him play Michigan 100-year anniversary. Yeah.
Taking the kids?
Yes, to that game I am taking the
Yeah.
kids. It's going to be fun.
That should be fun. Is it on a Saturday night?
Yeah, we don't know the game time.
Oh, of course.
I don't know if I know it yet. I don't know. Maybe it's out now. I haven't
College
looked
football and you're non-scheduling the games.
Yeah. Hey, Juice, did you know that Illinois went all of 2015 to 2019 without being ranked in either football or basketball polls in even one single week?
Was it run those years back one more time?
2015 to 2019.
Oh, wow.
5 years they weren't ranked
On either sport.
in either sport.
Huh.
My friend, we finished last year in basketball AP number 6
Wow.
and are currently AP number 19 in football. Go Illini.
Powerhouse. Unbelievable. The power of the almighty dollar there, huh?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Have we wasted enough people's time or you got anything else you want to talk about?
Absolutely not.
All right, folks, we're going to get into this today. We're introducing Beyond the Odds with Good JuJu. This week, we're talking with Elihu Feustel. Elihu is a professional gambler and now author of 2 books on the topic of sports gambling. His first book, Conquering Risk, Attacking Vegas and Wall Street, came out in 2010. How do you win at sports betting? Hard work and lots of modeling. Oops. Sounds right up our alley.
Oh, that old modeling gag.
The book dives into attacking both Vegas and Wall Street markets.
Yeah.
However, the reason we're having Elihu on today, his second book came out this summer, Beyond the Odds, Efficient Market Theory and Tools of Warfare for the Modern Sports Bettor, hit shelves and is a current valuable tool for sports bettors looking to take their gambling to the next level.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to him. I got to say hi at Bet Bash, but I didn't make it to the account longevity session he was doing. But I'm excited to talk to him about that and his time at Pinnacle and
If you listen to his other episodes on other podcasts,
his other interviews. Yeah.
Elihu could have a conversation with you about most topics in the world.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Yeah.
And have an intelligent conversation on that.
Yeah. So I'm excited to share kind of where I'm at as a sports bettor.
Yeah.
And get his take on where I should go next.
You don't think you already know?
I don't know. I don't think I know. I'm not sure. I'm lost at sea.
Huh.
I'm just saying.
I don't know how deep I want to go into this with you right now, but I kind of want to understand what you mean there.
Yeah, well, we went to Bet Bash and I thought I had an objective and an agenda and an understanding, and I learned a lot while we were there.
Right.
And we talked about this.
Right.
So it's like, okay, what's the next step?
And you don't think it's going to involve originating?
I don't know.
And if it does involve originating, is that something you might consider?
Might have to read this book.
Okay. That sets us up nicely then.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's where we want to go with Elihu. Kind of find out if the information in these books is for us and what we can gain out of it today and what we might need to think about moving forward in order to make these books more relevant for us.
Exactly.
So,
am I ready for the book? That's
yes.
my question.
That is kind of where I have been nervous going into this interview. Is am I ready? Is our audience ready?
Well, I know our audience is ready. Good luck.
We're going to have fun. We're super excited to talk with Elihu. You can find Elihu on the socials at D_Feustel. That's FEUSTEL. You can get more information about him and his books via his website, elihufeustel.com. Folks, stay tuned for our interview with Elihu, and we'll talk after.
Bye.
Elihu, welcome into the show. Before we kick things off, I believe you've alluded in the past to Jim Everts talking you into sports betting. Is this correct? And can you tell me the story?
Who is Jim Everts?
Oh my gosh.
Is that not the name?
Yeah.
We were listening to you on Better Odds, on the Bet the Process podcast.
Oh, yes, Henry.
And
yes.
You dropped a name and you said, this is probably a story for another day or something along those lines. But I got into sports betting because of someone. What was that name? Did I miss it?
Yeah, Jimmy Everett. Yeah, yes. He's better known as Henry Harrison.
Henry Harrison.
Pen name. Got it.
Yes. And he didn't actually. So I'd actually gotten into sports betting a couple years before I interacted with him.
Gotcha.
Doing mainly NFL and curiously arena football, which was very fortunate for me because that was much easier to beat than anything else I could have imagined going after. And I knew Fezzik back in 2001. And in 2004, Fezzik gave me an introduction to Henry, Jim Everett, at Pinnacle. And that's when about that time, I stopped practicing law and dove all into sports betting. That's when I no longer had a paycheck from any other source.
Gotcha.
How long were you balancing a career with the sports betting passion before you went full time?
So I started doing blackjack in 2000. I started doing sports betting in 2001. So for about 3 years, I did both law and sports betting, and finally decided that law is fun and all, but it was costing me money to practice law.
Getting in the way.
Yes,
Being a lawyer was getting away.
I had $100,000 in student loan debt from law school. Fortunately, I gambled my way out of debt.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's the things we dream about.
That's the clip.
I got a home. I got a mortgage I'm still working on. Maybe we can just finish that puppy off.
Gambling yourself out of debt. Jesus.
So
I paid off my mortgage, paid off my cars. I have no debt.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. So you've been a professional gambler for almost 20 years then, around there?
For 24 years if you count blackjack.
24 years. And you've also written 2 books. Now, the 2 books are the primary reason that we're bringing you on here to talk today, because we're really interested in them. We sat down and we watched your Bet the Process interview on the most recent book that you released. And as we were going through it, the main thing we thought to ourselves is this might be too much for us. And we're profitable considering what it would take to be professional gamblers. But what I'd like to hear from you, you have 2 books. First, Conquering Risk, and second of all, Beyond the Odds. Can you take us through those 2 books and sort of explain whether or not they build on each other, or what the context and what we can expect to develop through reading those books is?
Conquering Risk, I'm going to call a beginner's book. It has, if you have never beaten sports betting, Conquering Risk is the book to start with. It lays out the math to do modeling, to do props, to price things, to figure out push rates. There's a lot of skills you just have to have if you're going to bet on sports. And Conquering Risk is a very good introduction. It alone isn't enough, but if you read that and you use everything in there, you're probably going to stop making most of your bad bets. They'll mostly be good bets that survive after that. I mean, everyone makes bad bets, including myself. You try to remove the bad ones, but if you have a good process, you'll make more good bets and less bad bets.
Okay.
So that's its introduction to the quantitative sports betting.
Now, can someone who's never gambled before pick up that book, and will it provide a framework of here's where you start at square one, like literally signing up and taking advantage of the bonuses and building a bankroll through that and then leveraging that in other ways?
If you have the mentality that this is a college course and I'm going to treat it like a continuous series of math tests, then yes. A person who can do pre-algebra can learn enough from that to probably to win at sports, or at least stop making losing bets. But most people don't have the discipline to study and learn and put the stuff into practice. And because of that, sports books make money and give it away to the pros.
But if they do have those qualities you're talking about right there, and they have never sports bet in their entire life, can they pick up your book and run with it, Conquering Risk?
Absolutely. Again, as long as they have the discipline and they're going to take it seriously.
This sounds like a fun social experiment. Like
That's what I'm saying.
We got friends coming up to us like, how do you do it? Just show me the way.
We genuinely have that happening in our lives through this show.
Now, 9 out of 10 people who say they want to do this don't really want to do this.
Right.
They want to make fast, easy money without working. My approach is not fast, and it is not easy. And it's some of the hardest money I've ever earned. I'm busting my ass, getting data sets, working with other people, getting information, networking. And my goal is just to hold 2%. So every $1 million in bets I make, I want to make $20,000.
That's a dose of reality.
And that's, I'll be honest with you, Elihu. I've had individuals come up to me since I've started this show and say, hey, can you show me how to do this? And I've
No.
said to them,
Just say no.
I've said to them, absolutely. You have to put a 2-hour meeting on my calendar. Day one, I'll walk you through for 2 hours, the absolute fundamental basics. And then you got to understand you can't do anything other than listen to me for a little bit after that. And now
there's one basic that you can explain it in 2 minutes, 1 minute, the basics of sports betting.
Yeah.
You're buying something for less than its fair value. If I spend $100 on a ticket, on a wager, and the fair price on that is $98, I'm going to win or I'm going to lose, but my equity is $2. That's all sports betting is.
Yep. I've always told them, do you ever invest in the stock market? And when they say yes, then I say it's very similar technique.
This is what I
Stock
tell
betting
them.
is much easier. You don't,
right.
because if you're a coin flipper and you just diversify correctly, you're going to win your 7% a year on average.
Right.
Whereas sports betting, your average is minus 4.5% at retail. Right. So, what approach do you guys use for sports betting?
We're exclusively top-down bettors. So
primarily, yeah,
we leverage tools and like we can win on our own. We're profitable on our own without needing anything else. But one of our struggles and one of the things we'd love to get into in the course of this conversation is we have the background understanding of modeling of what goes into all this. And our primary thing is we're just not sure it's for us. Like we're not sure that we want to chase originating as a practice. But we're still curious if there are opportunities for us in this business long term, leveraging skills we do have as part of whatever organizations are out there operating in such a manner.
So there's plenty of opportunity if you were an originator. In fact, there are lots of top-down bettors, and that approach is getting harder and harder to execute because the ones that will always take your bets. The market makers will always take them. They're not going to throw you out, but they're the ones you're using to set the top.
Right.
The bottom that you're attacking are going to be mostly the marketing books who are going to collar you. So you're probably grinding through accounts. You have accounts closed. You have to find a way to get your bets down every time. And that's just the skill in that. There's some skill in applying top down, but the more rare skill is the ability to get accounts where you can continue to exploit that.
And so to be honest, that's another thing that we're not excited to try to do. Like,
nor am I
to do that.
I don't want to go. I have no interest in trying to fake people's names and get people who don't have an interest in gambling to give me their identities and stuff. That sounds illegal.
It's bullshittery and it's a headache and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out what our next step in this evolution is going to be for us.
And there are lots of different ways to make money in sports. Top down is one of them. I call my approach the frontal assault.
Okay.
The dumbest thing you can do in the military is attack a position straight on from the front, but that's also the thing that is the easiest to do long term. So if you can originate, if you can price something and you can find a 2% edge into the market makers, that is sustainable. You can do that for as long as you want. Other ways, if you have faster information than other people, that's guaranteed money, especially if you can measure the impact of that information. But that's getting harder and harder. So you look at some like Right Angle Sports primarily is an information-driven service, and you're seeing that the information is coming out faster and faster, which makes it harder for them to execute. So if you have a network of people and you can get injury information, coaching information ahead of the market, that's money. But again, that's a very human capital intensive approach. I'm not very good with people and I'm not very good at getting accounts. That's why I stick to my approach, which is basically purely quantitative and no information.
So let's get into that then, because the book Conquering Risk really covers sort of that front part of it, of getting yourself going, getting yourself a thorough understanding, creating that identity as a potential originator of your own. Right?
Yes, right.
And then Beyond the Odds, your latest book out now, folks, go check it out, let me say this, Elihu. Can I read this for you real quick?
Sure.
Let me make sure I find this. I don't even have it in here.
Oh, what are you looking for?
I was looking for the full title.
Oh.
You have a full title in there for Beyond the Odds.
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear it real quick.
Can you say the full title for us?
Let's see if I can remember this. Beyond the Odds, I don't even remember the title right now.
He's got to find one.
Exactly. This is the point we're going to, Elihu. What's the deal with the title?
So there's two concepts, which one is efficient market theory.
Right.
And this is a variation of top down. So in top down, you say, here's the market. Oh, look, you're off. With what I call it right to left thinking. Here's the market. Here's what the other markets should be. Here's the game spread and the game total. What should the first half line be? What should the game money line be? And so you can take those parent lines, the spread and the total, and assuming the markets are efficient in the past and going forward in the future, you can price all these other markets. So, all right, I have it here. Beyond the odds, efficient market theory and tools of warfare for the modern sports bettor. So the second concept, I mean, sports betting is a conflict over money. All wars are fought over resources, and sports betting is no different. It's a war over money. You're trying to take their money. They're trying to keep you from taking it. So how do you not just take it, but how do you take more of it?
Right.
So, and the two ways that I find to take the most is to bet as many different things as I can. If I can price 10 markets or 100 markets, let me price 100. That's going to make more money. So how do you price lots of different markets? So one, answer key talks about an automated way to price lots of markets. And that's the very first chapter of the book.
Okay.
An algorithm, an easy way that you can replicate to price lots of different things.
Okay, let me ask this real quick while we're on that topic.
Mm-hmm.
In order to work with answer key,
Mm-hmm.
are there any fundamental bases of knowledge with regards to modeling and
Yes.
and those sorts of things that we need to know?
Yes, you need to understand algebra. You need to have historical data in a format you can manipulate. And you probably need to be a programmer so you can automate it.
Okay.
You will also need a line scraper to scrape market prices. So you can compare, you can get the parent prices and you can get the target markets you're going to attack. So this is not really, again, I said this is not for beginners.
Yeah.
Right.
The second book assumes you're already winning and probably part of a syndicate.
Got it. Okay.
Part of a syndicate.
Okay.
Or you have a lot of resources. So if you
Sure.
are operating alone, but you have the ability to hire someone to get you data, and you have the ability to hire someone to program, or if you can do all these skills yourself, you're basically operating as a one-man syndicate. But there are a number of different skills you have to combine to attack on a larger scale. And most no beginners have this.
Right.
And I would say probably no one who's bet fewer than 5 years has the combination of skills and abilities to use this.
That's part of the battle of like why you partner with people, right? Because they got a skill set and you got a skill set, and you trade ideas or skills.
We have similar skills, but I want to save time.
Yeah.
Every skill I can delegate out gives me more time to play or do whatever I want.
Right.
It's not enough to make money. You want to make money and spend as little time doing it as possible.
That's kind of maybe what the last year of my life has been about.
Automation?
Trying to find how I optimize my time in sports betting and with the family life and the day job and trying to do a podcast and all of that. How do I get as much out as I can with putting as little in as I can?
Yeah. And you're going to put a lot more into this than you ever will with a regular job.
Sure.
But it's also more rewarding.
Yeah.
And not just from the money. I don't enjoy the gambling part. I enjoy the problem solving.
Yeah.
So I come up with an idea, and when it all comes together and everything starts to work and money starts coming in, it's not about the money so much as the I did it moment.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch any of these games and I don't care who wins. It's just the money is just a way to keep score.
Right. All right. Real quick, back to the answer key.
Yeah.
Because just to be like totally clear, what it truly is you're using like back data in order to develop your take on what the derivative markets should be priced at, whether it's a half, a quarter, or
if you can price any market that you have data. So what I've done in the past is I would read 20 years of NFL play-by-play data, and for every game I would create a vector. And in this vector, I would say, who scored first? Did they score 3 times in a row? Did the team that scored first win the game? Did the team that scored last win the game? So you could any game prop or team prop you want to put in.
Were you doing manual data entry for this?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Okay.
I wrote it's gonna take forever.
I wrote a parser that reads the play-by-play data and then creates a larger data file that attaches to spreads, the game scores and spreads and totals.
Okay, I'm going to dumb this down for us just slightly here as well. Can you explain derivative markets for the audience and what you're talking about when you mean starting from the whole and then breaking it down?
So if you're looking at, if the Cowboys are a 6-point favorite and the total is 42 for an NFL game, that's the main game market. And I refer to those as parent lines. The full game spread and the full game total, those are going to be the most efficient numbers for the whole game, because those are going to have the highest limits of anything you can bet on that game. So my assumption is those numbers in the past and those numbers in the present are pretty good. So then I create a sample. Answer Key comes up with a way to create what is, I'm going to call, the best sample you can create for games that as a whole look very similar to that. Now, you may have to use some games with a spread of 6.5. And if we're trying to match 46, you may have a 45. And I may have another one that's 5.5 and 47. But you create a bunch of games that in aggregate, your sample does two things. The results of the games are similar to what you're pricing. So if that game is, if that's 6 and 46, then when I look at my sample at the end of the day, half those games are going to cover 6, half won't. Half are going to go over 46, half won't. That's half the problem. The other problem is you need to make sure that your spreads and totals match up pretty close to your target also. Because if my goal is to have a sample of 6, and my sample actually has an average spread of 8, that's going to make that favorite look a lot stronger in the first half. That's going to mess up your splits, and you're going to lose money and go to hell. So you got to get them both right if you're trying to price these derivatives.
This isn't based on certain books pricing their derivative markets more accurately relative to their total. This is something you can apply across any sports book.
Yes, I ignore. The only reason I look at the other books' derivative pricing is to see what I'm going to bet. My assumption is whatever they're offering may be wrong. I don't care if it's Pinnacle or Bookmaker. Whoever it is, their derivatives carry no weight for me.
Okay.
So back to a derivative is any market that you can price using the full game spread and the full game total. And you need both of them. For example, if you're trying to price a large favorite in college football, so you have a 30-point favorite in college football, that first half spread is going to be very different based on what the game total is. So if you just use a chart that is only using spreads, you're going to get the wrong answer a lot of the time. So you have to look, and same thing with the total. If you're looking at a college basketball game and the total is 140, what is the first half total? Maybe you'd expect the first half total to be 66.
Yeah.
So a half minus 4. But if you have a large favorite, that number gets closer to 50-50. If you have a game that's pick 'em, then it goes the other way because you have more in the overtime. So the derivative is any market that you can do analysis on to compute using the spread and the total as the only features that go into it. So if I have a spread and a total for a game, I can come up with a first quarter money line. I can come up with a first half team total. I can any game props that I have data on, I can price just by creating a sample and then counting.
Randomly, we picked up a tip while we were at Bet Bash that has us betting college football teams plus 11.5 parlayed with the under on the total. That didn't source to you, did it?
No, it didn't. That sounds like something Plus EV might suggest.
It might have
probably
been.
who it was. We got that via Steve Fezzik.
We've been playing this system play now all season, and we're not actually sure who gave it to us.
It's working pretty well, though. It's working pretty well.
So all dogs of 11.5 and higher, you're parlaying with the under?
Under if it's around 52.
It's got the total's got to be around 52, and the dog's got to be around 11.5. And
you get
little loosey goosey.
You get like
that's absolutely a Plus EV thing. He did a seminar on correlated parlays at Bet Bash.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you just parlay those together on a book that gives you true odds, it's a moneymaker.
Yeah,
and it might be. I can't tell you if that's good or not without spending some time to look at it.
Sure,
but there are lots of correlations that aren't obvious. So if it's 52 and 11, your implied score is 31 to 21 or something like that.
Right.
So I could see that having an advantage.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't bet it until I did the analysis myself.
Sure, of course. We're taking shortcuts on this side.
Yeah. Well, if you take shortcuts, you're going to get the wrong answer a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I get that. All right. So back to the answer key. So the first chapter of the book is about setting this up for yourself. An answer key,
yes.
in essence. Yeah, got it. Okay. I'm super intrigued now.
So where does the book go then from there?
Now I got to think back to this. I mean, I published this months ago, so I can barely remember now because my life is so crazy. We talk about some other things you can use efficient market theory in is pricing correlated parlays. So I talk quite a bit about that, and then there's a lot on the stratagems of warfare part is how to bet more, how to last longer. So that's
right.
There's a good bit on that, and then I have a chapter that was kind of for fun on using answer key to hit parlay cards. But the idea is that you can actually do the same approach for any kind of card. If it's a parlay card, it's a teaser card, it's a prop card, whatever it is, you can price these and attack them and with whatever resources you have to hit it.
Interesting. I love a good parlay card.
You need a bigger edge on your tavern parlay card.
You don't want one card, you want 1,000 cards.
Uh-huh.
The hardest part of betting parlay cards is the execution of getting as many down as you can. So
of different variations?
Yes. So if say you have 25 plays you like that are at least some degree of positive, then the two things you're trying to do is one, get as many variations down as possible to get a decent amount down. And the second thing is you have to be careful on risk management, because if you have 3 plays that have large edges, you can't have your entire parlay card exposure being vulnerable to just those 3 positions. So there's a lot of diversification you have to do when doing the risk management for parlay cards.
I think that's exactly what I did this weekend with Tampa Bay.
Did they win?
No, absolutely not. They got blown out.
He went 4-1 in millions, and that Tampa Bay blew him up all over the place.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
So can you talk a little bit about account longevity then?
Yeah.
So for the audience, account longevity is how do you last longer with the books without getting limited? Is that covered in your book?
Yes, it is. And the easiest way is to play at market makers. If you play at Circa, you play at Bookmaker, you play at Pinnacle, you play at Bet Online, they're going to say thank you. And you can beat them. If you beat them fairly, they're going to pay you and you'll never have any headaches. And they're not going to cut your limits. They'll just say, thank you for the information. Our number is sharper because of you. So that's not the answer you're looking for.
Right.
But that is very good if you want to use the frontal assault approach. I'm going to beat you out of my 2%. They're going to pay me my 2% and they're going to sharpen their lines with it. Now, if you're going to bet, especially with the legals, so there's the offshore market makers. There are the legals that, in general, don't want anyone with a pulse to bet.
DraftKings, MGM, etc. Yeah.
So the number one thing they look at is your win-loss. So if you win a lot, generally they're going to collar you unless they think you're an idiot. The things that you can do, I'll say, you don't want to get closing line value generally if you're betting into the U.S. books. So if you can come up with a low closing line value strategy, and we're at kind of advanced stuff here.
Yeah.
There's things you can do to avoid getting closing line value. One example would be if I'm hitting accounts, I don't want Pinnacle and Bookmaker to show that this bet is smart. Mm-hmm. So what I do is you may eat and feed as much as you can on non-market maker books, but you never put these bets into the market makers, especially on the smaller stuff that may not move as efficiently. So then when they look at it, they say, oh, well, this guy's an asshole. The line didn't even move his way. So one thing is avoiding closing line value. Another thing that helps is parlays. If you do, 2-team, 3-team parlays or round robins, you're probably going to get less scrutinized initially. Another thing is don't bet too many weird markets. If you're betting football, great. If you're going to bet European sports, you may get blocked in just 1 or 2 bets.
Yeah.
So if you're going to bet into a U.S. book, don't bet anything that's outside the U.S.
Got it.
Another thought is Davido wrote in The Interception something that's called a high variance strategy. If you come up with an approach that has a low edge and a very high variance, where you're going to have many times where you just get blown out, and you probably have the best of it long term, but the book is going to see many losing weeks and you look like a maniac, then that's going to be something you're more likely to last longer with not just marketing books, but you're more likely to play into market makers without getting an auto move.
Yeah. So for instance, like yes, no, home run prop.
I mean, we've joined multiple discords just in the form of trial that put out a lot of what they would call lotto plays.
Yeah.
And then they mix their lotto plays in with more base wagers
Mhm.
to kind of prop up the account and keep it stable mostly with the
Right.
straights. And then the lottos are really what feed the long-term EV, but you got to be super patient with it.
Yeah.
And, it takes, and it works. It does work.
Yeah.
And I've noticed in a lot of those situations, the people who are doing those types of discords haven't had the same issues with getting limited that we do, just kind of using an odd screener and getting down more baseline action.
Are they playing draft fantasy or sports mainly?
They are hitting these mostly on like FanDuel, DraftKings, regular books with just like 8-leg correlated parlays on a same
game parlay that's with a mispriced correlation.
And they're still just finding these, and it's like no one's getting kicked out of these books after they win, $20,000 on a wager because they lost $5,000 on a bunch of dumb looking lottos, but they didn't really lose $5,000 because they were offsetting it with all their base action.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept.
We'll have to talk about this offline.
Yeah. So we've seen it work. Don't ask us the fundamentals of the pricing behind it. Because we're the ones subscribing to the smart guys who are doing that.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So let me ask this. Look, I'm going to lay out something for you real quick here. And I just want to kind of see where I might fit within this equation or if I do it all. I have a background in marketing research, 17 professional years, always client facing with data. Meaning I didn't have any responsibilities with regards to modeling, projecting, calibrating our data. I did nothing on the back end. I worked directly with clients with it. So I have extensive experience working with large data sets and finding truth in numbers and communicating those stories to clients. Is there a place for me with the training I already have in this ecosystem? Or would I still... I got to take that step back and work with the groundworks of modeling and all that to even find a place in this space.
So you don't have to do modeling. What I described in the answer key isn't actually modeling. That is just using data analytics. That's sort of what it sounds like you're already doing.
So if you experience there.
Yeah. So if you have the data sets, if you have the historical data with scores and odds, and you have a programmer, then it sounds like you have the skills you would need to actually use it.
So we still need the programmer.
Yeah. Don't look at me.
Why don't you want to?
And
I got one set.
No, I did it. I used to do this in Excel, and it would take me like 3 minutes per game to do. And I hated Saturdays during college basketball season. My nose would be bleeding and my eyes tearing up by the end of every Saturday. But then we automated it, and life became much better.
Yeah. So you
just hit
like Python,
and then it just shows everything. It just gives you a list of bets to make.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Audience, if anyone out there is a programmer interested in getting into this, hit me up. I'll work with you.
Breezy's looking.
Yeah, I'm looking.
So once you program it, you have your answer key runs every 5 or 10 minutes, and your scraper pulls all the lines from everywhere you want to bet, and it gives you a play sheet every 5 minutes that just lists all the bets that you can make and what the EV on each bet is with whatever cutoff you want.
Oh,
that's what you want. So then you say, here's everything I can bet. You have another sheet that shows what you've already bet so that you don't end up betting too much on any position. Then you just add to whatever positions you want.
Yeah.
And
got it.
You can do it all day, or you can do it all at once, or you can do it check once early, once late. But the idea is to do as little as possible to make as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I work very hard to not work hard.
I'm going to assume with just a base fundamental knowledge of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Combined with Elihu's book, Beyond the Odds, and obviously a programmer who's going to reach out to me now, certainly.
Right.
I have the tools officially to utilize your book and move to the next level.
Yeah.
And you need data sets. So you need to have historical odds and scores and ideally with extra data.
I can figure out how to get my hands on data. What I can't figure out is how to take that data and aggregate it in a way that I then can go in and leverage that data to make informed decisions in the world of sports gambling. That's the step that I know I'm missing.
Go reread chapter 1 on answer key. If you have the data and the programming, that tells you how to build a sample, and then the sample is just counting.
Got it. So I've heard you reference code examples in this book, like a unique thing, right? Is that in relationship to answer key as well, or?
There's no coded examples of answer key, but there are things that explain it and show it. So I had about, I think, over 30 either Excel sheets or source code segments to try to show people physically how to do these problems in Excel.
Interesting.
So, and it was someone else gave me the idea, just put a QRC code and then everyone can download everything.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
That was, so people complain the book is short, but when you add in the examples are almost as long as the book.
I mean, for a topic such as this, the shorter you can make the book and still get across the pieces of information you need to get across is the more valuable it's going to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You try to make a 1,000-page novel on this, you're going to lose even more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to do it so you didn't actually have to load the files or look at the examples, but you could hopefully understand it without looking at it. But then if you really want to dive into it, you can actually go deep into each problem and play with it and change things and see how it changes.
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll have to have a little working session.
I am going to be honest. I wanted to read the book before I interviewed you, Elihu, and life got in the way in a bad way.
Life happens that way.
I am excited to dive into the book. Is there anything else that we haven't covered here today that might be of interest for the audience's knowledge regarding it?
I give examples on computing closing line value, which is something that you don't have to do that to bet, but knowing how to measure closing line value is very good if you're measuring your models, if you're assessing how good is your model. It's also useful if you're assessing how smart is a person. So say you're looking at following a player and you have his playlist on his sides or totals. You can look at that and measure his CLV and make a good guess of if he's going to win going forward or not. The other thing that's kind of obscure that I put in there, which just because no one had ever published, I think, is how to do Asian handicap conversions in soccer. So, if you're going to bet, if you have the choice of betting something minus a quarter ball at minus 130 or minus a half plus 102, which is the better price? And if you're betting soccer, you have to be able to answer this question correctly. Yeah. So, and as far as I know, no one had ever published this. So it's like, oh well, we have this work. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to COVID when that's all that was on, and I was betting every day.
Table tennis and
we had action on European darts at that point in time.
Yeah,
so we were all over everything.
I had no idea what an Asian handicap was until that time in our life.
We barely knew what we were doing. Period.
So Illinois legalized sports gambling like 2 days before COVID started.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was a wild time,
and it was fortunate because we had nothing else to do.
Right? Yeah. There you go.
Are you in Chicago?
Peoria, Illinois.
So a couple hours south. Yeah, okay. We're like right between Chicago and St. Louis.
All right, I'm in South Bend, so
not
too far from you.
Yeah.
Are you a Notre Dame fan?
It's hard to, I used to be, but I bet against them so often, it's hard to maintain any team loyalty.
Yeah, I grew up a diehard Irish Catholic Notre Dame fan. And when I went away to college, I had the misfortune of attending the University of Illinois, which means now I have to be their football fan instead. But honestly, since I kind of switched over, the Irish have not done anything to make me regret the decision either.
Yeah, fair enough.
I know I've bet against them in the first half a couple times this year, including when they lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still get warm feelings in my chest when they do well, but I'm not emotionally. I don't feel sucked into feeling bad or anything like that.
I mean, I would like them to win. I would like them to have a national championship as long as it doesn't cost me any money.
Fair enough.
Is that your standpoint on everything? Has it ruined all sports teams, or do you still have fandoms that you keep sacred relative to sports gambling?
I like watching heavyweight boxing.
Oh,
okay.
So that's and I like World Cup soccer. Like really good soccer. Although with soccer, you have to bet on it you have to do in-game while you're playing it too. So
of course.
So in Illinois, we're not allowed to bet on the college teams located in Illinois.
Ooh,
yeah. As a U of I grad, I'm happy. It just
makes it simpler.
Complicates my life a little. I appreciate it. It's like the game comes and I go, I know I can't do anything sports gambling related anyway. So now I can just straight up enjoy this game and not even think about it.
Yeah.
Well, how far are you from the Indiana border?
About 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make it over there all the time for Celtics games.
We go to Iowa to bet.
So I don't know if you still bet at MGM, but I think they've nationalized their accounts. So your Illinois account will work in Indiana So then you could get around that if you want to drive across the border.
We've done a decent amount historically of going to Indiana when we had to place bets, like because Indiana legalized before Illinois did.
Yeah.
So I'd make work trips at the time up to Chicago where my office was, and then on the drive home to Peoria, rather than go straight to Peoria, I'd cut west to the Indiana border, stop at the first rest stop on the other side of the border, talk to him, and we would hammer a slate of games before I drive home to Peoria.
The things we had to do.
Now we don't have to do that.
You ever hit the casinos in the Hammond area?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
we were up there. We went to a Bulls Celtics game last year. We make a trip every year.
Yeah.
And we went up to Hammond and we did a casino tour. We went Hammond, we went to the New Bally's, and we went to Rivers out in Des Plaines.
Yeah.
And that Hammond casino was my personal favorite because of the cast of characters that was hanging out in that
It was interesting.
casino.
It was
when
interesting.
we were there at noon. There was a hot dice roll at the craps table, Elihu, and there were a couple folks who were just running around the casino screaming about how they had their rent paid now and they had everything taken care of. And then there was another old cat sitting right next to my right. He had to have been 85 years old, marking down every little thing that happened at the craps table. I leaned over to him and I go, "Excuse me, buddy, have you, why are you doing that?" And he goes, "Because it helps me win." And I go, "Does it work?" And he just looks at me dead in the eyes and he goes, "I've been doing it 50 years.
So have you ever read about
Hammond Casino?
Have you read about dice setting?
Of course.
Yes. We used to have a third co-host and he
Uh-huh.
firmly believed it
He
was
was
a real
practicing.
thing and he was practicing it and we don't buy it.
Yeah.
Do you buy it?
I think I buy it, but I think it takes maybe 3 months to develop the skills, and you have to have a full setup to practice it.
A whole
And then you
rig,
have to-
right?
Yeah, a whole rig, and then you have to find a rig that is a similar bounciness to your practice rig.
Because that's the weird part. Now that I play craps all the time, it's like every one of these tables is different.
Yeah. So, like anything gambling, it's if you're going to win, it takes a lot of work.
I have a beautiful throw.
Right,
I always
yeah.
said that.
There
I
you
have
go.
a beautiful
Yeah.
throw. I don't know how to make it do anything, but it looks
Mhm.
pretty.
I can't take the
Yeah.
fun out of craps.
Well,
All right. This was a ton of fun. But before we go, do you ever place bets for the pure fun of it with no edge just because you're watching a game and want a piece?
No,
Never.
I don't watch any of the games generally either.
Yeah. God bless you.
Oh my gosh, you are him. This is your guy. This is your guy. I'm going to be more like, you know what?
A little degen.
Let's get a little steak going here.
Yeah.
It's just
I
for
will.
account health, Elihu. It's
Yeah.
just for account health.
I will actually follow tickers, not because I care, but because I like to give shit to my partners.
Oh,
So because they're freaking out at every bad beat we have. If I just remember the things they talk about, you'd think I'm broke that we lose every bet we make. I remember we had like $100,000 swing when Baltimore hit a 69-yard field goal once. We lost, $250,000 when the Patriots came back to beat the Falcons. There's all these horrendous things, and I know we've won money, but I can't remember a single winning bet. I just remember the bad losers, and they love to complain about that. How many extra points hit a $50,000 swing on an extra point bouncing off a goalpost, or it's just crazy.
yeah.
But
So
they agonize over it, and
Yeah.
I like to tease them about it once in a while.
So you're telling me on any given random night, professional sports bettor Elihu D. Feustel will not be found watching any of the games that everyone else is watching?
Are you kidding? I got books to read and PlayStation to play.
Right.
That's fantastic. Elihu, thank you so much for joining us today. You can find him on Twitter at D_Feustel or via his website, ElihuFeustel.com. Good juju to the rest of your week, Elihu. Hope to talk again soon.
All right, thanks for hosting me.